So, how was the first day of school?
It was fine, I guess. I don't know.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Did you guys pick up on that?
Sure did.
Something's wrong.
We're gonna find out what's happening, but we'll need support. Signal the husband.
With a nice pass over to Reeves, comes across center ice.
Uh-oh, she's looking at us. What did she say?
What? Oh, sorry, sir. No one was listening.
Is it garbage night? We left the toilet seat up. What? What is it, woman? What?
Signal him again.
So, Riley, how was school?
You gotta be kidding me.
For this, we gave up that Brazilian helicopter pilot?
School was great, all right?
What was that? I thought you said we were gonna act casual.
Riley, is everything okay?
Sir, she just rolled her eyes at us.
All right, make a show of force. I don't want to have to put the foot down.
No, not the foot.
Riley, I do not like this new attitude.
Oh, I'll show you attitude, old man.
No. Breathe.
What is your problem? Just leave me alone.
Sir, reporting high levels of sass.
Take it to DEFCON 2.
DEFCON 2.
I don't know where this disrespectful attitude came from.
You want a piece of this, Pops?
Yeah, well, look.
Prepare the foot.
Keys to safety position. Ready to launch on your command, sir.
Just shut up!
Fire!
That's it. Go to your room.
The foot is down. The foot is down. Woo!
Good job, gentlemen. That could have been a disaster.
Well, that was a disaster.
Come, fly with me, Gatinha.
So we're in the middle of our Real Theology series, and the first week we did The Big Short. And last week, Mike, I was sorry that you weren't here because I gave my apology to bankers and investment bankers for not fully respecting you during that service. He came up to me afterwards and said, once a year I know the minister's going to get on my case. So, if it's only once a year, you're doing well. Last week we had Spotlight, and that was the movie about the abuses in the Roman Catholic Church in Boston. And after I actually left, I felt a little bit uncomfortable because I have such great respect for the Roman Catholic Church. They do great work all across the world. And in fact, 2 of the songs we sang last week were from Roman Catholic composers, and I loved their liturgies. And I didn't say that. And I actually went to my husband and I said, was I too tough? And he's actually Catholic. He was raised Catholic. And he goes, no, I don't think so. But I kind of felt a niggle, and a few of you did too. So I just want to get that on the record. We work very closely with the Roman Catholic Church. Every church has its problems, ours included. And when we come together with what we agree with, it is a really great work of God. So this week is Inside Out. This past Friday, we had a screening of the movie Inside Out here at the church. And I must admit, I'm not really a big fan of animated films, but I was completely captured by this one. It was so beautiful in the way it portrayed that very difficult transition from childhood to adulthood. As a mother who has ushered 3 children through these years, and a person with a beautiful and uncomfortable memory of this phase in my life, that movie resonated with me on so many levels. The story is about a girl named Riley, who is 11 years old. She and her family have just made a move from Minnesota to San Francisco. And at first, Riley is really excited about this new adventure. But then difficulties begin to arise. The house they're living in is kind of run down. Their furniture truck seems to be lost somewhere in Texas. Her dad, who has always been there to play with her, is too busy with his new job. She misses her friends back in Minnesota who are moving on without her. And she's finding it difficult to remain optimistic in the face of all these disappointments. While Riley has always been one who can find the joy in everything, these challenges seem to morph her personality, and her parents are concerned about the changes that they are seeing in her. Does this sound familiar to any of you? But the real genius of Inside Out is that it is mostly situated inside of Riley's emotion center. We saw the characters earlier in children's time. The animators present this kind of headquarters with a console where 5 different emotions take turns driving Riley's responses to every situation. When joy is driving, Riley is happy and she looks on the bright side of things. But when anger is driving, Riley is sullen or throws a tantrum. When fear is driving, Riley is uncertain and scared. And when disgust takes the wheel, Riley shuts off, first of all, from broccoli, but then from other new experiences. It should be noted that these 5 emotions were chosen in consultation with the psychologist Paul Ekman, who's been studying facial expressions of emotions for more than 20 years. He says that there are 7 core emotions that have internationally recognized facial signals. The 5 from the movie, and there's 2 more, contempt and surprise, but the animators didn't know how to animate that, and it would get too complicated for children and me, so 5 we have. He notes that each emotion has this facial expression, and he says that these expressions are thought to have arisen from basic survival mechanisms. Widening the eyes in fear, for instance, might represent an effort to take in more visual information about the environment. And wrinkling the nose in disgust impedes breathing, possibly limiting the intake of toxins or pathogens. So there's good reasons for all the facial expressions that we have in our lives. But the important message from the movie is that all these emotions are necessary and good. For example, joy keeps Riley happy. Fear protects her from danger. Disgust guards her health and her social status. Anger ensures she is fairly treated. And then there's sadness. Well, in the beginning, nobody is quite sure what sadness is for. And joy does her best to shut sadness down, to keep her occupied with other things so that Riley remains happy as much as possible. Riley being 11 is a perfect age because Ekman notes that this is the age where positive emotions begin to drop precipitously in frequency and intensity, and other more difficult emotions emerge and start to play a larger role. Riley's most joyful memories have coalesced around certain events in her life, which become her core memories. So each core memory in the film has built an island that is a part of her personality. So for Riley, these include goofiness and hockey. She loves to play hockey, and friendship and family and honesty. These are the things that Riley relies on when times are tough. These islands of core memories keep her grounded. And it's the same for us. Our core memories build our personality. So inside emotion control, joy has been able to dominate, and she's been the main driver. Almost all Riley's memories are joyful at the age of 11, and joy likes it this way. When Riley goes to sleep, the memories of her day are sent away for processing in long-term memory. And one of the emotions watches her dreams, which are based on her day's memories. And a new day starts, emotions fresh, and this cycle begins again. The problem, as set out in the movie, is that sadness has started touching joyful memories and is just about to start changing these core memories that have all been joy till now. But now if sadness touches it, will be different. And so joy grabs them all these core memories, and she's trying to keep sadness away when an accident happens. And joy and sadness and all Riley's core memories are taken up into her long-term memory, leaving fear and disgust and anger in control of her emotions. Studies show that our identities are defined by specific emotions which shape how we perceive the world, how we express ourselves, and how others respond to us. But whereas we used to think that emotions disrupted our ability to define and organize our lives, we now know they actually assist in rational thinking if we can figure out why we are feeling this way. For example, when we are angry, we are acutely attuned to what is unfair, and this helps us to work for justice. When we are afraid, our spidey senses, as we call them, are telling us of a danger that we can't grasp intellectually yet. And in addition, the current emotions we are feeling now, how we feel now, shapes how we view our memories, because no event is only one thing. If we are sad, our memories take on that glow. And if we are happy, our memories are all fantastic. But more importantly, emotions organize our social lives. When we display sadness, this prompts people to come together to provide support. By exploring your sadness in a situation, what has been lost comes into focus. It gives you the opportunity to deal with it and allows you to move on to what has been gained. Sadness creates the space to form a new identity that is healthy and can deal with life in a new way. Emotions are a good thing. But too often we have valued one over the other. We say it's not good to be angry, or conquer your fears, or be open to everything, and especially important, don't be sad. We have valued joy or happiness above everything else. And the result is we try to numb sadness. Just like joy tried to keep it away from every memory so Riley could stay happy. But when we numb ourselves to sadness, we numb ourselves to joy. Studies show we cannot selectively numb emotions. It's all or nothing. And when we avoid sadness, we avoid joy. Maybe we've placed too much value on evenness and not enough on passion or righteous anger. We should not ignore the uncomfortable emotions because they are keys to our true selves. We can't possibly grow into textured, fully formed adults if we don't acknowledge how we truly feel. But what Inside Out shows is there is a skill in determining which emotion should drive in which situation. If you notice from the clip, the emotions inside the mother and the father were working together. They are not all chaotic and random. That's because adults generally have a more nuanced understanding of all our memories and situations, because we know every moment resonates with joy and with sadness, and every experience of sadness hopes for greater joy. So the important part of coping in an adult world is not ignoring your emotions. It's choosing which one is driving. One writer said, "In my house, the movie has given us a new way to talk about how we feel. Who's driving now?" I ask my daughter as we're riding bikes through the city streets of Brooklyn. "Joy," she answers, "and a little bit of fear." "Who's driving when you're at work?" she asks me later. "Joy," I answer, "and a little bit of fear." This is exactly what the writer of Ecclesiastes had in mind when he wrote those words. There is a time for everything. Not just every activity, but every emotion. There is a time for every feeling as well. A time to cry, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. They are like two sides of one coin. Contained in the sacred dance is a loss and a mourning. The seed of anger is reconciliation. Our fear is connected to our openness. And after pointing out these dualities in Ecclesiastes, the writer says the best thing is to eat and drink and see the good in all our hard work is a gift from God. This is not eat, drink, and be merry, because very explicitly the writer says it's our hard work that is a gift from God, and that's our hard work internally and our hard work of labor. Richard Rohr says that life is a struggle. Life is a tragedy. It is not fair or just or happy all the time. The writer in Ecclesiastes knows that when we understand that, we are at the beginning of wisdom. It is simple. Life in its totality is a gift from God. When we realize that all these emotions are organizing our lives, we have the choice of which one will be the driver, while acknowledging the presence of all the others. Do I need to feel sadness to mourn the loss of a loved one, or a lost opportunity to move on to new possibilities? Do I need to be angry or just suffer through the indignities of an unfair world? Will fear keep me safe in this instance, or should I overcome fear to enter a new possibility? Will disgust keep me from trying things that harm me, or will it remove me from opportunities to experience diversity? Knowing which emotion is driving is important. Acknowledging the presence of all of them leads to a richer inner life and the possibility of wholehearted living. Our story today in the Christian tradition adds to this. Paul exclaims that the greatest of all the gifts is love. But love is not an emotion. When we are loved, our emotions are held and cared for in a safe and sacred place. And this yearning for love is really a longing to return to the foundation of our lives, to return home. The knowledge that God loves and holds us throughout our journey, because in the beginning, there was love. God is always present, wanting to be known by us in every aspect of our lives. It is this assurance that we are cosmically loved that carries us through the emotional roller coasters of our lives. It is this awareness that we are surrounded by love just waiting to burst forth that gives us strength to move on from sadness and anger. It is love that supports our joy and love that eases our fear. Paul speaks to this inside-out experience. When I was a child, I spoke, thought, and reasoned in childlike ways, as we all do. But when I became grown, I left my childish ways behind. He uses the most common of experiences, this moving out of childhood. But as we all know, it brings uncertainty about who we are, new realizations about our place in the world, new imaginings of possibilities and realizations of our limitations. And with this comes emotions which are unsettling and uncomfortable. We have left behind our childish things, and we mourn their loss. But Paul continues, "For now we can only see a dim and blurry picture of things, as when we stare into polished metal. I realize that everything I know is only part of the big picture. But one day when Jesus arrives, we will see clearly, face to face. In that day, I will fully know, just as I have been wholly known by God. But now faith, hope, and love remain. These three virtues must characterize our lives. But the greatest of these is love." As we grow in wisdom, we learn the big picture and that old adage, "This too shall pass." We gain resilience as we confront and conquer emotional mountains in our lives. If we're lucky, this journey leads to a new simplicity. To eat and drink and enjoy the hard work is a gift from God. We're finally comfortable in our skin. We own our emotions and understand the importance of feeling. But more important, we are truly, madly, deeply loved. Amen.